Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another fantastic episode on the Unleashing Potentials podcast. My name is Bernadette Desir, and I'm your host. And joining me today is returning champion, Janet Shane. Welcome back on the podcast.
Well, thank you for having me back, Bernadette. I love being in your space and I love working together to help people. You're very open to it and we bounce off of each other very, very well, I believe.
Yeah, definitely. So you've been on the podcast once or twice. I know we've done some Facebook
I
Lives
think
together in the
once,
past. Once?
once,
Oh, this is
once.
your second time. Really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool.
I've
Yeah.
done a lot since the first one.
Yes, you have. You have. You've been very busy, very busy. So, Janet, where about are you?
I reside in the United States in Ohio in a little agricultural community called Coldwater.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool. So, for those people who haven't seen your episode on the podcast, just give us a teaser or refresher, so we get to know you more. Who is Janet? What does Janet do?
Who is Janet? Janet is a traumatic brain injury survivor that has had a near-death experience that she only realized was a near-death experience only probably with about 5 years ago. Call me a little slow learner. I don't know, but my family never talked about that. I was never around anybody that ever talked about that or anything. And then I was seeing a priest, and then I was talking to him and telling him what was going on, and then all of a sudden one day I went, wait,
Mm,
my spirit was up there. I wasn't up there. My spirit was in heaven. And he's like, yeah. I said, because my body can't go. He's like, yeah. He's like, your soul. And he's like, and you came back because Jesus told me I was going to be okay. And I went, oh,
mhm.
okay. So that's a big part of me. I'm a wife of 27 years and a mother. And I am now at the time when I was on here last time, I was a bestseller, an international bestseller on Amazon with a book collaboration called Unstoppable.
Yeah.
And it is now Unstoppable Volume 1 because there are four volumes.
Hmm.
Yeah, volumes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the right word, isn't it?
Oh, it works. I understand what
Okay.
you mean.
There are four books in the series.
Yeah.
And I at the time when I was on here, there were no other books, so it was just Unstoppable.
Yeah.
And so now it's volume 1, and then 2 and 3 came out, and then when volume 4 was going to come out last summer, it was going to be called the Powerhouse Edition.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
Mike, the publisher reached out to me again and said, "Hey, do you want to write? Do you want to write in this?" And I was like,
Hmm.
"I think so." I didn't know at that time it was going to be the last. So I was in the first book and I was in the last book in the series, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And it also was even more of a bestseller than what the first one was in multiple countries and lots of different categories. And then in January, I became a best-selling author in a book collaboration called The Coaches Toolkit. And it is unique to its own. There is no other book like it. It is filled with stories of women who are coaches or people that have been in network marketing that are becoming coaches or in the health field or in real estate and a lot of different areas of life that women are working. And we are teaching or, giving you a snippet of what we're doing to try to help others to succeed in our industry. And with that, I am a certified coach. And I am working on mindset and optimization to help traumatic brain injury survivors to tap into who they authentically are from the inside out.
Yeah. Oh, I love
And
that.
uh,
Hmm.
and when you tap into what's inside and not listen to the ego, the mind body connection,
Hmm.
you find real joy and
Yeah.
real love and happiness and peace.
Mm.
That's beyond here. It's like when I experienced heaven. I mean, it's that real stuff. because that's what your heart and your spirit are made of. That's how we're all made in the like image of God,
Mhm. Yes, yes,
because we're
absolutely.
created out of his unconditional love.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I realized, as I was telling you before, yesterday at Mass,
Hmm.
I realized I've known for a very long time that that unconditional love, I'm meant to share it with others,
Hmm.
but I didn't know how. I was like, that's a big, like, but how? I mean, I love it and my heart is called to do it, but I didn't know how. And I thought just being nice to people and and doing things for people. But it's got to be bigger than that because I know it's supposed to be like big level like impact.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to help not just here, but like across the world. And I didn't have a clue how. And yesterday, through Jesus, the Spirit, or whatever, it came together to me that my strength in coaching with mindset and optimization is focusing on awareness, presence, mindfulness, whatever you want to call it. And that's when you can tap into who you authentically are
Hmm.
and override what the mind and the body are trying to tell you. And I am here to serve in that way to help you to connect. And that is my mission, to help people to connect to that unconditional love.
Mm.
And then God will supply. He already is the source, but we just don't tap into it.
Mm. You're right. Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I love that you said you didn't know how, because I think there are so many of us who don't know how. We know we're supposed to do more than what we're doing. We know that we're so capable of much more. We don't know which direction to go. So I'm so excited you found your how, your reason. And I think in the process of that, you're also helping other people discover their mission, their vision, and to walk in the word of God through the process.
Yes, clarity is super important. And I've been working on the clarity, but yesterday it was just like God put a floodlight on it. And I was just like, oh like, oh my
Yeah.
goodness. I was like a little I was like a little kid, like a kid is full of all excitement about whatever. And that's truly what it was, because it was pure. It was pure excitement and joy. And so it made my why so much clearer, because if you're an entrepreneur, I'm an entrepreneur.
Hmm.
The why is so important. Everybody talks about the why. If you don't know your why, or if your why won't make you cry, then it's not good enough. And well, I don't know if it'll make me cry, but let me tell you, my heart just like expands like Grinch's heart
Mm.
at the end of the,
Yeah.
you know how his heart expands?
Yeah.
And that's what happens when I tap into the signs and the guidance.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
not about me. It's not about me. And I mean, I am human. I am selfish sometimes.
Mm.
And I get a little annoyed with myself when I get that way, but I also know I'm human and I'm not perfect. But
Yeah.
our spirit and our soul is. It's our mind and our body, the ego, that silly monkey ego.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We all struggle with that at some point for sure. Yeah. Yeah, so Janet, tell us more about your brain injury. What happened? And you also had a NDE. Tell us more.
Okay, I was 20 years old and I was 3 minutes south of a highway patrol system, and a young lady came across she lost control of her car, went across the grass median strip and went basically on top of my car
Mhm.
and landed on top of it. And my husband now was then my boyfriend almost 2 years to the day, and they said that I could forget anything within 2 years. Well, yeah, I remembered him. I knew that I loved him, but we had to start all over again. And I was 20 by the calendar in the years, but I was 13 mentally. And I also was paralyzed on my whole left side. I had to relearn how to walk, how to talk, how to tie my shoes, how to make words, how to add, because in my head I was saying 22 or was saying 4 when they asked me to what's 2 plus 2?
Hmm.
I'd say 4 up here, not realizing out of my mouth was coming 22.
Mm.
And so I was really close to losing my hearing and
Hmm.
I I had to come to Jesus moment that first day when I had gotten to the rehab hospital.
Hmm.
I was in the shower and they were washing my hair and my body and everything. And I'm like, I know what they're doing, but I can't do this. And they got me out of the shower and got me dressed and left me alone in my room. And I just started to cry. And at that point, I hadn't remembered that I had had a near death that came down the road. And, but I was like, Jesus, you didn't save me for me to stay like this. This is not okay. I'm going to get my degree. I'm going to get married and I am going to have kids. And every day I made a point that by the time I went to bed that night, I had to do one thing that I couldn't do when I got up in the morning. Some days it was as simple as eating a new food, being able to swallow something. And then other days it was bigger. I was like, I want this left arm to be able to do this. And well, when I went to bed, it was doing this, but I'm sure it didn't look like that. And it was really all over the place.
Hmm. Hmm.
But in my head, I had accomplished it. And I thanked him every night for helping me to get my degree. Thank you for helping me get married, and thank you for helping me have children. And I just entrusted it, which was coming with into personal development is the law of attraction. So God gave me the law of attraction in the early 90s
Hmm.
before anyone really, before I it was probably a thing.
Hmm.
I just had no clue about it.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
And then I started to realize that something had happened
Hmm.
um the spring after the summer that I had had it. And when I went to church on Good Friday and they were doing a reenactment and the lights were low and they had on a record, I
Hmm.
can go there. Like all of those like special little things that I've been able to experience, I can like go there in a heartbeat. And on Good Friday is almost always.
Hmm.
It's either filled with tears because I can feel how hard it was for Jesus to give up his life, how hard it was for him in the agony, the Garden of Agony,
Hmm.
or the Gethsemane.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so intense. Like he literally was sweating blood. I mean, but it was all about in Mark, let it be thy will and not my will. And
Yeah.
and then after my mom had passed, I started to be able to tap into her. And then dad passed. I was able to tap into him. And then my neighbor took his life. And
Mm.
then I started to tap into him. And I was like, wait, I knew mom and dad. It makes sense for mom and dad, but you mean I can, and I mean, if I know the person, it's not like someone can come to me. I'm not like, I can't get that energy, at least not that I know about, and I'm not going to try because that's not what I want to do. But I always call upon Jesus though to make sure I stay safe because the evil one will work in ways that appear to be God that really aren't.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then like I had said about 5 years ago, I was seeing a priest and we were talking. We He just would let me go and he would just let me share my heart, what was ever on my heart. And because there are a lot, I have lots of little stories about signs, seeing signs in your day, seeing signs in your life. I've been given a lot of them, and because I told God a long time ago, I need him to be like in my face because I don't get hints. A hint, hint, clue, clue ain't gonna work. I need it slapped in the face, God. And so he has given me some very in the face signs that I believe are filled with hope, miracles filled with hope. And they're in my computer.
Yeah.
The
Mhm.
deal is to someday get it published.
Mhm.
When, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I've kind of made my children promise me that if I don't get it done, if I'm too chicken to put it out, that they'll put it out after I'm done
Mhm. Yeah.
because it still needs to get out. This world needs hope
Mhm.
and these stories, and it's going to push people to open up, to take in stories that may sound woo woo, but it, it was
Yeah.
all real, all very, very real.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I love woo-woo stuff, so
Well,
I love it all.
yeah, there's a couple there's the self-development and the entrepreneur, like, yeah, us, we get it. The science people, like the engineers, yeah, not so much. But but us people, we like woo-woos because it's real. And because like I was I was talking with my husband, and I forget what and I was like, we had discussing something, and I was like, well, the spirit told me like to think about it this way.
Mhm.
And he's like looking at me like kind of funny, and I'm like, what? I'm like, I believe it's the spirit. What do you think it is? He's like, it's just a thought. you know? So, I mean, and it's not good and it's not bad. It's not right. It's not wrong. It's just perspective. And that's a lot of personal development is about perspective and seeing perspectives from other people's point of views and living outside of our box, which he is very good at doing. He takes me out of my box.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's awesome. That's really cool. So how do you teach others about self-care and how do you practice it for yourself?
Ooh, that is a really great question. Um, I with teaching, I we talk about what feeds their soul
Mhm.
because getting your nails done, yes, that feels good. Getting your hair done, that feels good. Going out for a nice meal, that feels good. But that's not really, in my eyes now for where I am, that's not really true self-care and bubble baths. They feel good, but that's not really true self-care. True self-care is taking care of your spirit and going out into I have been doing like self-care on my page. I think last week my theme was about self-care and like grounding. Grounding is absolutely a must to go out in nature and just ground yourself. And last week was a beautiful week. It was such a blessing. This week it's really sunny today, but not quite as warm, but getting out every day and definitely grounding, by grabbing trees, putting your feet in the grass, just touching the earth. And also, I sleep now with a grounding sheet
Mhm.
and mat in my bed, and that has really helped to calm down my nervous system.
Mm. Yeah.
For me, self-care is calming down my nervous system by also implementing the three-step system that I learned with presence, how to make myself aware of what's going on, stopping and asking myself on a scale of 1 to 10, what am I feeling? One is I don't want to be alive anymore, and 10 is, woo, bliss, glorious. And, and if you're anything less than what you want to be experiencing, I'd be happy if I was an eight. I mean, there are times when I have an eight,
Mm,
but, in those times and it's all done on reminders. It's not something that you like do. So it's like having a nail a different color or rubber band, or I have a reminder app on my phone that goes off randomly
mhm.
15 times through the day. My coach does times a day, but he's busier than what I am. I can pay attention. I don't need 20. 15 does me good. So it gives me five of grace. But but I check in and I say, what am I on a scale of 1 to 10? And then I say I feel it wherever I am feeling that emotion. And it's usually on the front side of your body between your waist and your head. A lot of times it's in my chest, and I'll say it's in my chest, and then I describe it. It feels pressed, it feels heavy, it feels broad, it feels cool. Like just describe the feeling. It's not describing the emotion or the thoughts. It's actually how you physically feel. And then after that, then you say, "Thank you for releasing that. I love you. I love you. I love you." And if you're an eight and you don't need that, you say, well, thank you for making me aware of that. I love you. I love you. I love you.
Mm,
So I do that. And then also, I've read The Greatest Secret in the last little bit here. And so I've taken some nuggets from that book.
mhm,
Um, it's written by the same person that writes or that wrote The Secret. And after The Secret, life was glorious, life was good. And then all of a sudden, she wasn't as happy. And so she went searching again. And so she went east, to find like Deepak Chopra and some like mega gurus. And then here she come to find out that it already exists for everyone to be able to connect with. And it's within you, and it's awareness. And every thought and every feeling or emotion we experience
mhm,
is an opportunity to be. That's when you say, "Oh, well, I'm feeling this," and then they say, "Welcome it." Like kind of open your arms like you're going to give it a hug. And I did that at first. Now I do it mentally, you know.
Yeah.
But I say, "Welcome." You are welcome here. Just it drops the resistance, which is key because when what we resist will continue to persist.
Mm, yeah.
And so by welcoming it, I have found those feelings and that they just dissolve. They just melt away.
Mhm, yeah.
And then you're empowered to make choices.
Yeah. Yeah.
And overall, happiness is much higher.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. For some people, it may take a bit longer, to master mindfulness and law of attraction.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, well, law of attraction is like in my experience, there's two separate entities. Yes, they're still going to the same destination,
Mm,
but they yeah, it's taking bites and chunks. And like, you get to this level.
mhm,
Well, yeah, things are good, but
mhm,
there's always another level.
mm,
Or my hands disappeared. Sorry.
mm,
Um, another level down and another level down. Um, we're
mhm,
like onions. I said that on the first podcast, and it's still true. There are many. I will keep digging, and it's a promise to God and to people listening and to myself. I am going to keep digging to my absolute last breath here because that is my job. My job is to prepare myself to be able to be in his kingdom. And unless I'm working on myself here, to be the best version I absolutely can as a human being.
Hmm.
That's my job. And I want to serve. My heart is called to serve.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. So what would you say sets you apart from other coaches who are doing either the exact same work you're doing or similar?
One, that I had the traumatic brain injury, and I want to focus on other survivors. We survived,
Hmm.
but I don't want them to just survive. I want them to thrive
Mm.
because not everybody makes it. Not, I mean, not everybody makes it.
Mhm.
And helping them to let go of who they used to be. Not that because you can't take the broken. I hate to say I use that word loosely because
Mhm.
it's a hard label, but we do. We feel broken. Our brain has been damaged. Our whole life as we knew it has been stripped away. It's gone. Not, it will never be that exact same way ever again. But I want to be a hope and a light that there could be a new life that can be maybe even more blissful and better because you're tapping into what's inside.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Thank you. What messages of hope do you have for women that are watching this?
You are stronger and braver and more intelligent than anyone will ever give you credit for. Empower yourself by putting your hands on your heart. I'm too short to but my hands are on my heart. Put
Yeah.
your hands on your heart and tap into your heart. Your heart will not lie. It will tell you the truth. It will give you the guidance. This is the flip side. It's the dark side. It's where the shadow kind of lives. Everybody has, some people call it the dark side, people call it the shadow, whatever definition you want to call it, but it's the person that's been through the stuff that has the baggage.
Mhm.
They're not bad. They're not evil. I mean, maybe they were evil, but there's they you were who you were. You can't change it. It's in the past. We're not created to live back there. Every day when your eyes open, you are gifted, like truly gifted with another day. And because it didn't have to be, it could be that there were a, a million people that didn't open their eyes.
Mhm.
And so give thanks, set your intention for the day.
Mhm.
And then I go into the bathroom and I high five myself. And now I'm at the point where I high five. I'm smiling before I even hit the mirror because it just makes you feel good. There's something, Mel Robbins does a great job and she uses science. It's a real thing. High five yourself. And then I get a glass of water. Another lady has taught me that it's science. The first cup of glass of water in the day, you can pray. They had science where they did a study where you prayed over it, you yelled at it, you screamed at it, you sang to it, like all these different things. And the glasses of water that had prayer or love, or loving things to it, had nice molecules in the water. And the ones that had the other anger and yelling and whatnot, not so good. And
Mhm.
so I pray, I literally pray over my first glass of water in the day.
Yeah.
Kind of funky, but I'm like, what do I got to lose?
Mhm. Mhm.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it's self-awareness and gratitude for the small things. That's all.
Hmm.
It's
Yep.
love. It's love and you appreciating God's creation and falling in love with it, even if it's small. That's what it is.
Yes, and God has given us water to live,
Hmm.
light to live,
Yeah.
um, love, water, light, laughter
Hmm.
to help us to get through the rough times.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that on a regular basis, like whenever I hit a challenge, like let's say like the gas tank's almost empty in the car and the husband's like, you didn't fill it up, and I'm like, no, so just stop at the next one. I mean, I really don't get my feathers ruffled. And if I do start to get my feathers ruffled, I'm like, I need to stop and I need to find what's good in this because there's something good in absolutely everything. Everything is there for a reason. There's a lesson, there's something I need to take away. And when I start just saying that to myself, that little dialogue,
Hmm.
it allows me to find a solution way quicker than when you're like beating yourself up of
Yeah.
why did I do that? Why didn't I do that? Or yeah, no.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, Janet, is there anything else you'd like to share as we come to, we're gonna wrap up the episode?
I just want people to don't ever give up. Life is not easy, but it's only as hard as what you allow it to be. And there's truly goodness in everything. And I will leave with um the quote that I have in my second the book 4 of Unstoppable.
Mhm.
Everything happens for a reason at its appointed time,
Yeah.
because there is an appointed time for absolutely everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love that. I do. I love that. Yeah. Um, where can people find you? Where can people buy your book and connect with you?
Okay, I definitely connect with me in Facebook Messenger. And to buy the book, if you send me a message, or you can reach me at jo my email is joyinlife at janetshane.com.
Mhm.
And also I am on YouTube and I have a series of like I think there's 11 videos now of helping people build self-confidence and self-worth and finding the self-love. And I can, once they send me a message or an email saying, "Hey, I'd really like to have a book," um, I will send the price includes it's $20 a book, which includes shipping and handling as long as you're in the United States
Mhm.
or yeah, probably the United States, maybe Canada. I know you live in Canada, my
Yeah.
friend.
Yeah.
And but North America is easier to send to. Outside of that, it's not so easy. But I can do that. It will include the book, the shipping, a bookmark, and a personalized chat message from me and my signature. And I have a Stripe link for each of those.
Mhm.
And I will just send you that, and it's easy to pay. And also, if what I've said and you're a survivor, or even if you are just it's what I teach isn't special to traumatic brain injury, but that is my focus because my heart is there to serve because I understand what they've been through. But I have one-on-one coaching that I'm and right now I have a special because it's my birthday month.
Oh, happy birthday. Did it pass already?
No, it's tomorrow.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And so it's a special right now. If you pay for 4 sessions in full, I'll gift you the fifth one for free.
Wow, that's awesome. That's really cool.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Thank you. Thank you. Last question for you as we wrap up. What is the meaning of life for you?
meaning of life is doing God's will, not my will, and serving his people, which is serving him, and continue to become the best version of myself as I can. So
Mhm.
when my day comes that I have to go be in front of Jesus, he's gonna look and say, You fought through a lot. You've done a great job, my friend.
Yeah.
Thank you and welcome home.
Mm.
That's what I hope.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. Thank you. Well, Janet, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Not once, but twice. Come back anytime. This is your home as well. And I always learn so much when you share. It's refreshing. And congratulations on your success on your book and your work. Keep doing what you're doing because it's important.
Thank you. And it truly does take the exposure over and over and over because we're kind of thick-skulled or something. And, and but every time you hear it, it kind of just sets at a new level and just don't give up. Just really truly don't give up. Find the light and more than anything, okay, I've been a very godly woman on this thing, but I'm gonna go full gusto. When it's really tough, you just say, Jesus, I need you, or Jesus, I trust you. And he is always walking with us. But there was a day last year that I was like, not that I wanted to commit, but it got dark. It was getting dark, and I was just like, Jesus, I need a sign. Like I need a sign like now.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
within like a minute, someone sent a message, someone called, there was a sign.
Yeah.
And so the signs are there. You just have to be open to receiving them. Really, truly. Every day there is a sign of some sort through somebody or somewhere in the world for you to find.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I agree. Well, thank you so much again, Janet. We'll stay in touch and we'll chat soon.
Yes, most definitely.
Yes. Take care.